everyone. My name is Stephanie LeBlanc, and I'm the Global Head of Inclusion for Women of Color here at Google. And what a treat it is for me and for all of us today to be in conversation with Shellye Archambeau. Shellye is the former CEO of MetricStream, a Silicon Valley-based governance, risk, and compliance software company. During her tenure there, she grew it from a fledgling startup into a global market leader. Ms. Archambeau currently serves on the boards of Verizon, Roper Technologies, and Okta. She's also a strategic advisor to Forbes Ignite and the president of Arizona State University. And she also serves on the board of two national nonprofits, Catalyst and Braven. She has over 30 years of experience in technology and is the author of Unapologetically Ambitious, Take Risks, Break Barriers, and Create the Success on Your Own Terms. I've got my copy. It is a book that will inspire you. I can attest to that, and provide the tools to enable you to fight the battles, make the trade-offs, and create the life that you want. So Shellye, welcome, and thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, absolutely, Stephanie. I've been looking forward to it.
So tell me, how are you feeling, and what are you excited about in this conversation that we'll have here today?
Oh my goodness. So first of all, I'm feeling great. I mean, it's gorgeous outside. I'm currently in Silicon Valley. It was outrageously hot yesterday, but today is going to be more reasonable. So that's good. And I'm excited about the fact that I get to address, hopefully interact during the Q&A period with a lot of professionals at Google who are trying to create some wonderful solutions and capabilities for the world.
Awesome. So let's get into it. I read a shortened version of your bio, but it is clear that you have had impact and reach and lived experience that has been amazing. So I would love for you to describe the moment that you realized that you needed to write down those stories and experiences and lessons that you learned to share with us, your audience, your readers.
Yes, well, actually, Stephanie, it was probably about 15 years or so ago. So what happened was I decided to build my career in tech. And when I came out of Wharton in the early 80s, there weren't a lot of people running businesses that looked like me in tech. And as I was moving up the career ladder, people would reach out and say, "Oh, can I pick your brain? Can I buy you coffee? I would just want to hear your story. I want to learn from you." And honestly, I tried to do as many of those phone calls, conversations, coffees, and things as I could. But as I took on more and more responsibility, I just didn't have time to meet one-on-one with everyone. So I still responded, email, whatever. I still do, by the way. You write me in LinkedIn, Instagram, I respond, because I want people to know that I'm a real person, that you can touch me. I mean, if I could do it, you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, you know what? When I get to phase 2, when I pass the CEO baton, I'm going to take the time to write it down. I'm going to write down, how do you actually improve your odds to get what you want? I'm going to write down, how do you work through all these hurdles? I'm going to write down the fact that, this stuff is hard and nobody tells you it's supposed to be hard. So all of those things that enabled me to actually achieve the things that I have, I wanted to share. And that's why I wrote the book, Unapologetically Ambitious, was to help others understand, listen, you need to take risks. You can own your career and your life, and you can totally influence your outcome by being intentional.
And I love that. And what I love about your book is that it's sharing tried and true tactics, things that we may have heard before or hearing for the first time, but you like integrating your own personal story with it makes it resonate with whoever is reading it within whatever, time frame in their life, where they are mentally, what they're going through, both professionally and personally, and how they can just really interpret and apply what you're sharing in your book to where they are now. So the title, Unapologetically Ambitious, that feels so big and heavy maybe, but also empowering at the same time. So how do you define unapologetically ambitious, and how do you want readers to make it their own, that title that they can try on for themselves?
Yes. Well, first, I think the real context comes in explaining how I even picked that title, because I had the entire book written, Stephanie, and I had no title. I'm like, I can't publish a book that's just called my book. That's right. And I knew I wanted the word ambition in the book as a title. I knew I wanted it because so many times I'd been told, and I heard it others being told, that they were ambitious, and it wasn't meant as a compliment. And when you think about it, that's ridiculous. I mean, totally ridiculous. I mean, to me, being ambitious just means there is something in the future that you are trying to achieve, create, or impact, and you're working toward it, right? You would never raise your children and say, work hard, get good grades, be athletic and show leadership, get involved in sports and all these things, but don't be ambitious, right? You would never do that. So I wanted ambition in it. And then I was having a conversation with friends, and we were talking about the fact that women apologize all the time. And I said, I feel like women are raised from the cradle to apologize. I mean, yes, 5 to 10% of the time we say, I'm sorry, it's because we actually did something wrong. The other 90 to 95% of the time that we apologize, we do it to make the rest of the world feel better. We do it to show that we empathize, we care, we understand, to ease tension. We use it like people who cook use salt. It just makes everything taste a little better, right? And I said, you know what? We've got to stop doing it, because when we say I'm sorry all the time, people think we are sorry and it's our fault, and therefore we're not deserving. And that's when it hit me. That's it. Unapologetically ambitious. Because everyone deserves to be ambitious, Stephanie, and no one should have to apologize for it.
Yeah, there's so many times where we make concessions or think that we're not deserving or that it's not our time yet. And so what I'm hearing is, one, we're deserving, and two, we can't feel sorry or be sorry about it to make others feel better, right?
Absolutely. And by the way, being ambitious doesn't mean that you walk around saying, okay, I'm going to be CEO, so everybody get in line. You better support me. Here's what you do. Blah, blah. I mean, that's just being rude. Okay.
Right.
I'm not talking about that. Being ambitious just means you're working towards something, but you're still going to be professional. You're still going to take input. You're going to still do all those things, but you're going to continue to work towards what it is that you want. And no, do not apologize for the fact that you want to achieve things. That is perfectly fine. Everyone deserves to be ambitious, and studies show people who are ambitious actually do better. They go farther, faster in their careers.
I love that. And what then is kind of connected to ambition is a plan and a strategy. And this is something, and I shared with you yesterday, that, there are folks who are planners. I've got my 5-10 year plan and it's all written out. And others who are like, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. So talk to me about the importance of a plan, sticking to it, but the balance of, also being able to go with the flow as things happen that are out of your control, where you'll need to pivot to get to where you want to be.
Yes, I find the best value of having a plan is that it enables you to make decisions, allocate your time and your resources in a way to help you improve your odds of actually making happen what you want to make happen. So plan doesn't mean it's rigid. Doesn't mean, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, because you're right, life happens, right? Things happen. But the benefit of the plan is the fact that you first have to set a goal. Because if you don't have a goal or something you're working towards, there's nothing to build a plan for. So set a goal and ask yourself, well, what has to be true for me to achieve it? I want to be head of marketing one day. I want to start a company one day. I want to create a foundation one day, right? Whatever it might be. Ask yourself what has to be true. And most times you have no idea, right? You don't know. That's when you do the research to figure out, how did other people do it? What were their paths, right? And once you've done the research and you understand what has to be true, then you ask yourself, how do I make it true for me? And that becomes the plan. But the real, allergies, sorry about that. But the real value comes not just in having a written plan, but in making decisions every day, every week, consistent with the plan. So that way you are prepared when opportunity appears.
Yes, preparation and opportunity, right? And so when I think whether you're starting off in your career, whether you're mid-level, whether you're entering sort of the last stage of your corporate experience or whatever that may be, there's always a space to put a plan into place, to create a plan. And so one of the things in terms of how folks go through their journey you had a quote around, leaving a job that is no longer serving you. And so for so many people, it can be a daunting experience in their life that can range from, maybe leaving too soon, like they could have just stuck it out and kind of worked through, that there's more juice to squeeze, or there's the other side where they've waited too long, right? And so what's the self-talk and the action plan you should put into place when you realize it's time to leave or pivot or try something new?
Sure. So first of all, you want to ask yourself, are you still learning? Right? Are you still learning? Because you want to be in a role in which you are learning. Yes, you're contributing, but you're learning. And what I find is a good judge of learning is whether or not you feel uncomfortable from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Uncomfortable because you don't quite know, right? Maybe you don't quite understand, whatever it might be. That means you're actually in an environment in which you have an opportunity to learn and to grow. So if that's not happening, that's the first sign that maybe you need to change. Two, are you in an environment in which you're not feeling valued, supported, right? All those things. And if that's happening, first thing you do is don't just accept it. First, try to do something about it. Let your manager know, your mentor know that, I feel like I'm doing what you asked me to do. You asked for X, I've done X, but I actually don't feel as supported as I want to feel. Is there something that I'm not doing that's preventing you from supporting me in the way, right? That I need to have the conversation. Don't just accept it. And if you've had conversations and you've asked for the support and the coaching or whatever it might be, and you're still not getting it, and therefore you're not feeling satisfied in what you're doing, two things. Try again. Either the manager, one level above, mentor, HR, somebody. Don't just quit a job because of one person. All right? An organization has a lot of opportunities. But indeed, if you're in an environment, despite all that you've done, you don't feel you're growing, you're not getting supported, you don't see the opportunity, then look at making a change. Now, if you're in a larger company, there might be opportunities within your same company. You've developed a reputation and a set of skill sets. So you might look internal first if you like the company itself. But if you decided that, nope, it's a company issue, then start looking external. But here's the key. Don't run from problems. Run to opportunities. Because when you leave, just because I can't take it anymore, I got to get out of here, then you tend to take the first thing that comes along. And you know what? You may not end up in any better situation than you already were. Wait, be intentional. Figure out what it is that you want. What don't I like? What do I want in the next thing? And then proactively look for it so that you're running to something that is better. And you know it's better. I see too many people hop from job to job because I just couldn't take it anymore. I got one call, it was great, took it. No, be intentional. Does the next opportunity actually position you for what you're trying to do beyond that? Right? Will you get more than just a job, but will you get support, mentorship? Will you learn a new skill? Will you, right? All of those things. So be intentional if you end up having to change a job, but don't just leave because things aren't the way you want it. First, try to fix it because you've made an investment and they made an investment in you.
I love that. That is such great advice. And two of the things that I really heard in what you were sharing, um, intentionality, that's self-assessment, to understand, what am I learning? What do I want? Where do I want to go? And then how does that compare to what my current circumstance is? And then mentorship, talking to managers, talking to people around you. So let's get into network and your personal board of directors. What's the important piece of having personal directors? And then as you go sort of out in concentric circles within your network, of the valuable asset that having a network and activating that network in service of what you're trying to accomplish, how important that is.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in having a lot of mentors. I had an experience that I share in the book early on in my career. I was with IBM And IBM decided at the time that they wanted their high potential people to have mentors. But what they did is they asked us, who would you like your mentor to be within the company? I thought about it. I picked a guy. He was 2 levels above me. I knew him. I thought he liked me. So I put his name down to be my mentor. Well, I don't know, a week later, I get a call. Shellye. Hi, Roland. Shellye, you put my name down to be your mentor. And I was like, well, gosh, Roland, I thought you liked me. He said, Shellye, you've got me. Go get somebody else. And I was like, what? So there were 2 things that I learned really important in that very short conversation. Number one, this whole mentor mentee thing, it doesn't have to be formal. I had no idea Roland considered himself a mentor, right? Number 2, he told me to get another one. I can have as many as I want. So for the rest of my career, I started adopting mentors all over the place because I learned that if you asked people to be a mentor, you gave them the opportunity to say no, which a lot of people will say, not because they don't care about you, but because they're busy. So don't give them a chance to say no. I just started treating them like mentors. And what I learned, and by the way, I tell you in the book exactly how to adopt a mentor. So what happened was I'd adopt them, start treating them like a mentor. And then if as long as you do well, before you know it, they claim you. Oh, Stephanie? Oh, yeah, I give her advice from time to time, right? They're all proud of you. So adopt mentors. And the key is notice mentors S. Why did I need so many? In different jobs, at different industries, different companies, different situations, different levels, I needed different kinds of advice and perspective. So this isn't a matter of you have a mentor that carries you through. Mentors can be for a year. You might use them real intensely and then you don't use them for a while, right? But you keep in touch. There might be people who last a long time because of where they are. So you can have a lot of mentors. And by the way, the area that most people neglect to have mentors is helping them do the job they've got. Those are the most valuable. The most valuable. Yes, you want people to help you plan what you need to do next, but you don't get the next opportunity until you nail the one you've got. And odds are, like 99%, whatever job you had and have, someone has already done it before. Go find them, talk to them, learn what worked, what didn't work, so that you can start out like on second base instead of home plate, right? So that's the key and the value of having mentors. Plus, they help you figure out if you're going crazy. Because sometimes things will be going on and you're like, is it just me? Right? And you need somebody and some people that you can kind of bounce things off and get perspectives.
A lot of women that I talk to often get nervous or worried about asking for a mentor, but I like your advice. Don't ask, just adopt. But the second piece of that is around, what do I have to offer a mentor or a sponsor or just someone in my network that I want to develop or build a relationship with? And so my question here is for those folks who are perhaps newer or in their career, or their confidence isn't where it should be and they feel like I don't have anything to offer. I feel like I'm just taking and nothing to give. What's the perspective that you have for those who are kind of in that mindset right now?
Right. So I'm gonna hopefully show this by asking you a question. Have you ever given someone advice that they took and things turned out well, Stephanie?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And how did it make you feel when they came back to you and said, thanks so much for the advice. I did this and gosh, right? I actually got the promotion or I got whatever. How did it make you feel?
Great. I want to know
Right.
who's next.
Exactly. Well, here's what you give a mentor. What you give a mentor or a sponsor, or people like that, is you actually give them tremendous satisfaction. But here's the key. They can only feel that way if they know what happened. I cannot tell you the number of people over the years that have asked me for advice, perspective, etc. You offer it, and then you never hear from them again. You have no idea. Did it work? Did it not work? Was that a fulfilling conversation? Was that worth my time? Probably not, because you have no idea whether or not they even took the advice. What you have to offer is the fact that you are listening, you're getting value from them, and you're letting them know you've gotten value. Maya Angelou, and I'm going to misquote it, but she tells you, right? People won't remember what you say. They won't remember what you do. They will remember how you make them feel, right? So when you have a mentor, this is how you adopt mentors. You want to always report back, even if it didn't work. Hey, listen, you suggested so-and-so. I tried it, but it didn't work because I ran into X, Y, and Z. But it did set me up for whatever it might be, right? Or it worked. I got it, right? Something quick, whatever it might be. That's what people get from you. Plus, right? So that's on a regular basis. Plus, you never know when in your area, your connections, they might be doing a project or something where you can pitch in and help. You just never know where you might be able to be helpful. So always ask your mentor or mentee, hey, is there anything I can do to be helpful? Because there might be. Ask the question. But in the meantime, let them know the impact they're making on you, your life, your career.
I love that. Making the conversation full circle, the engagement full circle with those mentors. What I'm also hearing in that is, being able to just bring yourself and that be enough. A lot of Gen Zers who are like, oh, maybe I'm too young to share anything. Your perspective is really important and unique and can be super helpful and valuable to folks who you consider your mentors and your sponsors, because you're coming with a fresh perspective, your own lived experience that may not be, the X amount of years of corporate experience, but is still valuable nonetheless, how you think and what you've been through and how you bring that to the table.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about harmony. This is my favorite. Harmony between your work, your personal life, and your health. I felt like this was like the heavy hitting part of the book. And that's because I'm biased in a way because of the personal life stage that I'm in, where I have the husband, 3 kids, all the things, trying to excel in my career. And so that balance / harmony, I'm in the thick of trying to figure it out, failing and winning at any given point in time. But there's 3 things that I really want to point out that I'd love to just kind of hear you dig into more. One is that choosing a partner that is supportive is so critical to your success. 2, the importance of language. So saying that you are making choices versus sacrifice. And 3, that there's no shame and guilt about the decisions you make to pursue your career. Talk to us about that.
Sure. So first on partner, yes, I think it's critical. If you want a lifetime partner, which is what I wanted, I believe it's important to ensure that when you are getting closer to that decision on, is this the right person for me? Is this the one I want to marry or be with or partner with, et cetera, that you actually have a common vision for what you want in the future. It's just like a company, right? When you bring people together, if you haven't created a common vision, the company's not going to do very well. Well, you know what? Relationships are actually quite similar. If you don't have a common vision for where you're trying to go as a couple, as a family, as whatever, then it becomes really hard because you're making decisions. You may be actually optimizing to different things. So I believe that one of the most critical factors to my success was indeed marrying a man who supported the vision that I had for my career. He knew I wanted to be a CEO before we even got married because I decided early that's what I wanted to do. And so he knew, therefore, what that meant in terms of time, travel, moving, all those things that were potentials, right? Before we even got started. And we treated kind of the goals and things as our goals, right? When I got promoted, we won, right? When I got the CEO job, we did it. It was very much together. And there were things that he was also aspiring to, and we worked towards those together. So it was, to me, that's absolutely, absolutely critical because it just allows you to make better decisions as a family and as a unit as you go forward and just makes things easier. So yes, finding a partner that's supportive of the goals and dreams you have, I think is a critical thing. Next, when you talk about language, the reason language is important is our words carry meaning. So when people talk about, oh my gosh, I had to, have to make so many sacrifices. I had to sacrifice for this, for this, for this. Well, I view sacrifice as a word that basically means you're doing everything for someone else. You are sacrificing yourself for the benefit and the value of someone else, right? Completely. Well, when you think about that, in essence, what you're doing is you're not only giving up your power to that person, all right, that's your thing that you're sacrificing for, um, but you're also, in essence, losing yourself because you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for them. And because you're doing it for them, they can almost never be grateful enough. You mean I did all of this? I did ba 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 ba. I gave up this, I gave up that, and all you can say is thank you?
Right. Where's the prize?
Anybody ever feel that way, right? Like, what? This is it? You gave me
Yeah.
flowers? I mean, what? So, they can almost never, because you've built so much up, they could just never be grateful enough. So it puts too much pressure on the person that you were, quote, sacrificing for, right? I mean, I'll give you just an example. When I was my daughter, I was in Dallas, Texas. I got an opportunity in Silicon Valley. Daughter was a freshman in high school. She wanted to stay and finish her high school career, right, in Dallas. So, okay, as a family, we figured it out. She did. Family stayed. I moved. So I basically commuted from Dallas to Silicon Valley for 3 years.
Wow.
All right. Was that easy? No. Who did I do that for? I could have told people, oh, yes, I'm doing this for my daughter. Aren't I a great mother? I'm doing this all for her. Well, guess what? How would she feel? Oh my God, my mother's traveling every week. She's staying in a crappy hotel. She's doing all for me. Well, what happens if I don't get good grades? What happens if I don't do this? Then all this pressure she feels, the guilt, right? That's not fair, right? No, I did it for us. We made a decision. This was the choice that I made, that my husband made, that our family made, so that she could pursue what she wanted, that I could pursue what I was trying to do, right? We made a choice. And in making a choice, she didn't feel guilty. In making a choice, I owned it. I kept my power. So make choices. Don't make sacrifices. And then on the last point, where it talks about guilt. I believe we live in a world that is extremely judgmental. And because of all this judging, as a woman, I feel like I get judged on everything. I get judged on how I look, on how my kids look, on how my husband looks, on what I wear, on what vacations we take, how our house looks, how clean is the house, how this I get, right? Everything I do, I feel like judge, right?
Yeah.
So when you feel judged, you feel you have to do everything perfect because you're getting judged on it. Well, all of a sudden, if I got to do everything perfect, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I don't have time to do everything perfect, but I try. And so I almost kill myself, right? That's the problem. Who are you trying to be perfect for? For them. No, who are they? They are nobody. All right. You decide what you are willing to be judged on. You decide. Don't let the world decide what it's going to judge you on. You decide. And then once you decide what you're willing to be judged on, let go of the rest. All right. Otherwise, you will just live in this perpetual motion and you won't find peace. So, another example, I'll use my daughter again. She was the eldest. Jacqueline was born with very thick, curly hair. All right. So, how do you make sure she looks nice and neat when she leaves home? You brush, you comb, you part, you plait, you put little bows on, right? You do intricate braids, right? Really pretty cute, adorable.
I know that life well.
Exactly, right? So did I know how to do that? Yes, I had long hair when I was a kid. Totally. Did my late husband, all 6'2", formal football player, big hands, did he know how to part and braid and plait and put the little? No. Did he have to learn? Yes, because I can't do it all the time. So while he was learning, she left the house looking pretty jacked up. Crooked parts, one thick braid, one thin braid, something unraveling. She'd come home from school and the breadths fell out and this fell out in her hair. And do I know that when she got to school, people would look at her and say, how did her mother let her out of the house looking like that? Of course they did.
Yep.
Did I care? No. They don't know me. They don't know my family. They don't know our priorities. Our priorities were he needed to learn. And you know what? in a month or two, he did. And she left the house looking just fine. Now, listen, here's the other thing. She was in preschool. She's 3, 4 years old. She does not care how she looks. All right. It had no impact on her. She's 38 years old today with kids and doing just fine. Thank you very much. So here's the key. Don't let this world, let them make you feel so judged that you impact how you behave, how you think, and what you do. It is your life. It is not theirs. And oh, by the way, people spend a whole lot less time thinking about you than you think they do. So you decide what's important, prioritize that, let go of the rest. It doesn't matter.
Okay. There's so many nuggets in there. I'm going to try to pick a couple. But for those of you who are tuning in, you can post questions for Shellye. So put them in the comments box and we'll make sure and have enough time for us to ask a few questions. All right. So where do I start? One, the relationship that you have to have with your partner, that when they are learning, that you let them learn in peace and not say, oh, well, you had one braid here and one there, so I'm just going to do it over. I'm just going to do it myself. And so therefore, one, they don't get to learn. Two, you've just locked yourself into that task for the
forever. Okay, forever. So don't do it. Don't do it.
So release yourself of bad hair days, pizza nights, whatever it is that needs to happen in the way in which your partner does things that are different from the way that you do things. And it's okay. Your child's an adult living their best life. That did not have any impact on who they became as an adult.
Exactly.
The second piece of that is the choice of language between using choices versus sacrifice. There are so many people on this call right now on this chat right now, who are parents and caregivers, and they're constantly battling the goals that they have for their career and the things that they want to accomplish and do, and the expectations that are placed on them, whether intentionally or not, around how they should show up. So in the book, Shellye shares a story where a few weeks after giving birth to her daughter, she went to a conference. So she left her baby at home with her willing, ready, and able husband and support system to continue doing meaningful things in her career. And I think that topic of conversation, it is so triggering for so many. Oh man, I can't do that because then it's going to look like I don't love my child if I choose work, or vice versa. It looks like I don't want to, reach new heights in my career because I have a baby. So how dare I? And so I would love for you to talk to my friends who are in the audience right now who struggle with that back and forth, for the love that they have for their kids, the love that they have for their career, but the sort of dissonance that happens based on the expectations of how you should show up for each.
Right. And I'm going to go back to the expectations. Whose expectations?
Yeah.
Their expectations. Right? Come on. They don't matter. Are those people, are they like paying your bills? Are those people raising your children? Are those people taking care of your parents? Are those people doing anything that actually is meaningful to you? No. Right? How do you work through it? You and your partner. If it's just you, then good news is you don't have to negotiate with anyone. You decide what is important. What are you trying to do? As long as you have clarity on that, then you can live with your decision, right? But take the time to actually think through it. But please, 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 right? My biggest request from all of you is do not live your life for the phantom they, for the phantom them, for the whoever that is, right? Don't. They are not going to pay your bill when you can't. They are not going to take care of your sick child when you can't. They're not going to be there for you because you know what? They don't really exist. Okay? So when you're trying to decide, do I stay home a little longer? Do I go to work? Do I do this? Do this? Do what you feel you need to do. You will be fine. Your kids will be fine. Your partner will be fine. Because in all honesty, it's kind of a first world problem, right? Half the world has no choice, zero choice about when they leave their child or don't leave their child. Okay? And they are still raising their child. They still love their children. They still everything. I mean, this doesn't change how you feel. So you just decide. And then when you feel you're getting judged, decide whether that judgment matters, right? Oops, somebody's judging me. Well, do they matter? Where do they fit into impact on your life? Right now, it's a family member that could matter. They may not, right? You have to figure out what perspective they're bringing to the table when they're making that judgment. Okay. So that's why I say it's really important for you to decide what you're willing to be judged on. Because at the end of the day, the person that you have to look in the mirror is you, your spouse or partner, your children. That's it. That's it.
All right. So we are going to collectively breathe out, caring about they and their judgment. We're
Exactly.
releasing it in this moment. Okay.
Yes.
All right. One of the things that you touched on in that is, intentionality, of course, is the running thread, but also, self-assessment and reflection. And so you have this quote that I love, and it says, I've known many women who have gotten stuck in their careers because they were unable to master a skill they could have delegated, unwilling to delegate a task someone else could do, or unwilling to seek guidance when you need it. How can people, anyone, right? How can anyone do the self-assessment on what skills they should master, what they should delegate, or when it's time to seek guidance? What's your rubric of sorts for that?
Right. So it really comes down to kind of the task at hand. So I look to say, am I spending my time the way I need to spend my time based upon my priorities? And I will tell you, Stephanie, very few people actually do that. But I find it's a critical thing. Your time is more precious than money. Let me repeat that. Your time is more precious than money because you can't create more of it. Once it's gone, right? And so it's the most precious thing. So therefore, periodically look at your calendar. Look at how am I spending my time? Does it actually, match
Like reflecting,
the priorities I have? And if it doesn't, then change how you're spending your time to match those overall priorities. Because when you're looking at, should I do it myself? Should someone else do it? It really comes down to time. If you're the best person to do it and you have time, for God's sake, do it. All right. If you're the best person to do it, but you know what, from a priority standpoint, it's not necessarily in the top set of priorities. So then I ask myself, fine, is there someone else that I can do it, that I can help and support, but not own it? Right. So I get back a little bit of time. And if it's something that you're not even the best person to do it, anybody could do it, for sure. Delegate it. Right? Exactly. Delegate it so you protect your time. And then asking for help. Let me just say, one of the things that I've absolutely learned is that asking for help is a strength. Strength. It is not a weakness. All right? And the reason it's a strength is because we have a whole universe of people that have done incredible things, and you can learn from almost everybody that you engage with. So asking for help is just a way of learning so that you can be even better at what it is that you're doing. So, ask for help all the time. When I get ready to write this book, I'd never written a book. All right. So I didn't just read up how do you write a book. I went and talked to as many people as written books as I possibly could. Why? Because I wanted to learn what worked, what didn't work, had mistakes. But ask for help. I find if you ask in the right way, most people are actually very willing to be helpful. So use that. And by the way, the other thing that you can do, and you can talk about this, but one of the biggest benefits of asking for help is people get to know you in a different way because you're coming to them in a more vulnerable way, right? Which is a good thing. And then hopefully you'll also get asked for help and you can offer to help others. This whole help thing works both ways and everybody wins.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. We do have an audience question. It comes from Addie Snowden. And that person asks, if you were a middle level Googler in 2023 and had the goal of becoming CEO, which roles would you apply for or which skills would you focus on developing?
Okay. Well, so not knowing what area, I don't know if you're in sales or engineering or whatever it is, so I'm not sure what area you're in, but the ones that you want to develop are skills of leadership, skills that enable you to build your communication skills, clarity of communications, effective communications, persuasion communications, negotiation communication. I mean, I tell you, communications is huge. Number one, communications. Two, leading and developing people. All right. The difference between a leader and a manager is a manager is a title. A leader is a role that you get because your people choose to follow you. All right. So to become a leader is learning how to create environments in which people want to do what you need them to do. People want to be part of your team. They want to support you. So that's learning how to create that kind of environment is critical in terms of for leaders. And then you want to have the opportunity to actually build, grow, turn around, right? All of those things are skill sets that you're going to need as a CEO. So look for opportunities that allow you to do and demonstrate, right? Those kinds of capabilities. So those would be my general, given I don't know exactly which field.
I love that. And I think it's so actionable. And speaking of actionable, in the book, there is an entire planning guide broken out by chapter that not only that takes you from inspiration and motivation to practicality. How do you put all these learning moments in practice? How do you tailor it to your life? And I think for me, that has been the most impactful part of your book is like, okay, I got it. Wait, but how do I make the connection to me and where I am and the current life stage I'm in and the goals that I have? So one, I encourage each one of you to get the book, do the work. Shellye also has an Ask Me Anything every month on her socials. So this isn't the only moment that you'll be able to ask questions, but as she said, she answers LinkedIn, but also has an Ask Me Anything space to take questions and dig into the book even more if there's certain concepts or questions that you have. We are running against time now. And so Shellye, one, I want to thank you so much for everything that you've shared, for 15 years ago, making the decision to write this all down for us to read today. And just give us some parting words that you want us to all take away from this conversation today.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway for all of you is you own your career. You own it. Not your boss, not your mentor, not HR, not your spouse, partner. You own it. So take control. Be intentional. I mean, you would never spend like $4,000 or $5,000 for an airline ticket. Pack your bags, tell everybody you're going, right? Put the dog in the kennel, head to the airport, get on that plane, strap in that seatbelt, and then look at the pilot and say, so, where are we going anyway? Right? You wouldn't do it. But we do it with our careers all the time. We spend so much time and money on education and training and books and conferences and everything else. And then we go to work and we wait for somebody to tap us on the shoulder and say, oh, you can go do this now. Okay. You can go do that now. Okay. It's like, no, it's your career. What skills do you want to build? Where do you want to go? Right? How do you want to work? Take control of that and then work with your manager, with the company, whatever, so that it's a win-win. Because trust me, it's good for them too when you're trying to build your career, because that means you're trying to build skills and capabilities and you get a chance to actually impact more, right? So own your career.
Awesome. And on that note, I hope each of you take a moment to figure out what's your next step in owning your career. Shellye, thank you so much again for your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining today.
All right. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for having me. Bye-bye, everyone.